Hello, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Bootcamp. Coach Jazzi here, and I have our fun workout plan for today. We're going to do 3 rounds, 45, 15. No equipment needed. You need enough space to be laying flat on your stomach, arms out in front of you. We also are going to be doing a little bit more moving. So if you don't have any space, no problem. You can always just do things in place instead. I'm going to go ahead real quick. We're going to do some demos, then we're going to warm up and we're going to get into our circuit for today. So first movement here, we are going to start off with some supine Ys. So we're going to be on the ground, flat on our stomach, arms out in front of us with our arms like a Y, keeping our chin on the ground. Exhale, squeeze our shoulders, coming up and back down. So this is going to help us really increase strength in the backs of our shoulders to help with our posture. So that's movement number 1. Movement number 2, we're going to do some plank arm raises. So for this one, you can either be hands and knees or hands and toes. I'm most likely to be on my knees because this one is a little tricky for me. So for this one though, if we're on our toes, we want a nice wide base here. We're gonna exhale, lift one arm overhead, and then exhale in the other arm. And again, if you're from your knees, looking like this. So that is gonna be our second movement. And then last movement here. So what we're gonna do 3 upper body and then 3 lower body. So that's our plan for today. So we have 1 more upper body here. Plank, knee to elbow. I figured we can use some core in here. So we're gonna go ahead. In our plank position, you can either do same side or opposite side. Whatever feels better for you today, that's what I'd like you to do. So those are going to be our first 3 movements. And I overcorrected my camera. So let me see. There we go. Okay. Hopefully we can get both the ground and the standing ones without having to move. Okay. First, lower body movement. So our next 2 movements are going to be the same. We're just going to do one side and then the other side. But technically, we're working both of our legs at the same time with 2 separate movements. So we're going to do a curtsy lunge straight into a lateral lunge. So what that's going to look like, we're going to start with one side. So I'm going to start with my left foot for my curtsy lunge. So right leg comes back behind diagonal, hips forward into our curtsy lunge. We're going to stand up all the way, bring our back leg out into our side lunge and back. So if your balance is good, we'll see if mine is today. I want us to challenge ourselves to go straight into one and then the other. So that's going to be one side. So we're going to do 45 seconds like that, 45 seconds on the other side. So like I said, we are working both legs at the same time, but it is a different movement. So we're going to do like all of our curtsy lunges on one leg and then on the other leg. Okay, last movement. We're going to do some walking lunges. So if you don't have the space to do a walking lunge, you can always do a reverse lunge or a forward lunge in place. If you don't have the space. Otherwise, doing a walking lunge coming forward, looking just like any of our other lower body pushes here. So walking as much as you can back and forth, or like I said, you can do it in place. So the forward lunge, if that hurts, if that's too much pressure on your knees, especially after doing lateral lunges, feel free to do a reverse lunge instead. So as always, whatever feels good for you today, that's what I would like you to do. So let's go ahead and get started with our warm up. We're going to go ahead and make our way to the top of our space for the world's greatest stretch to start off. So we're going to go ahead, interlace our fingers, grabbing onto one of our knees, pulling towards our chest. And exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg stays nice and straight. Nice big deep inhale. And exhale, opening up towards our front leg, gazing past our hand, thumb is facing behind us. And we're going to go ahead and exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and pushing our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And And we're going to go ahead and exhale. Bring our feet together. Push the ground away and stand on up. Perfect. All right, same thing, other side. Interlace our fingers, grabbing onto our other knee, pulling towards our chest. And exhale, step back, reverse lunge. Hands coming down on the inside of our front foot. Back leg staying nice and straight. And exhaling, opening up towards the ceiling, gazing past our hand, looking at our palm here. Gonna help us open up our back. And let's go ahead, exhale, plant our hand outside of our front foot. Bring our back foot a little bit closer and push our hips up into our hamstring stretch. And exhale, bring your feet together, push the ground away, and stand on up. All right, let's go ahead and make our way onto the ground. We're gonna do a quick plank to pike, just do a few here, warming up our arms and our core. So when we're ready on the ground, on our hands and toes, let's go ahead, push our hips up. You do a quick little pedal of our heels, poke our head in between our hands. Let's go ahead and come back to a plank. Exhale, coming up and back. 2 more coming up and back, and last one. And then we can go ahead, make our way back to our plank, dropping down to our knees, and we are ready to rock and roll. So we're starting off, we have supine Ys. So we're gonna be on the ground, face down, arms straight out in front. We have 45, 15, 3 rounds coming up. 3, 2, 1, and go. So flat on the ground, on our stomachs here, arms straight out in front. Exhaling, lifting our arms as high as we can off the ground. We really want to use our shoulders. So what we want to do here, we want to bring our shoulder blades down. So squeeze your armpits, bring them down. Exhale, lift up and back. So we want to make sure that our shoulders are not next to our ears. So that's where we like to bring everything down. So squeeze our armpits. Trying to keep our head on the ground. I'm talking, so I don't want my lips to touch this floor because I don't know how clean it is. 3, 2, 1. So we want to keep our head on the ground if we can. Up next, plank arm raises. So we're going to be on our hands and knees or hands and toes. 3, 2, 1. All right, so if we're on our toes, I do like to have that nice wide base so we can have a little bit more stability. Want to try and make sure our headlights on our hips are facing the ground. Hands underneath our shoulders. If you need to take a second, go ahead, take a second, drop down to your knees, right back into it. Or we can, sometimes I do like to be on my hands and knees for these, so I can really focus on using my core and my arms. Sometimes for me personally, I focus on one or the other when I'm on my toes. 3, 2, 1. All right, last upper body movement here. Plank knee to elbow. So you can either do same side, you can do opposite side, you can do every other one. You can do one round one way, one round the other way. Whatever you'd like. 3, 2, 1. I feel like if I had $1 for every time I told y'all to do whatever feels good for you today, I don't think I need to work anymore. But it is true. I like you guys to always choose the movements that feel good for you, because what tweaks or whatever feel good for me aren't always going to feel good for everyone else. So that's why I like to offer a couple options, and you can choose whichever one you like best. But of course, I would really like us always to challenge ourselves. 3, 2, 1. All right. My arms are already tired. All right. Next up, we're doing a curtsy lunge into a lateral lunge. So choose your leg. We're doing all on the same side. 3, 2, 1. So for our curtsy lunge, you're choosing whichever leg you want to use. Back behind diagonal. pushing through our whole foot straight into our lateral lunge and back. So trying to get as low into each of them as we can. Knees coming forward on both sides. So from this angle, right? Knees over my second toe, chest is over the arch of my foot. Same thing. Knee over my second toe, chest over the arch of my foot that I'm stepping out with. Keep pushing. 3, 2, 1. All right, other side. Same thing. So like I said, we're using both of our legs both times, but we're doing one movement per leg. 3, 2, 1. So same thing, back behind diagonal with one foot, straight into our lateral lunge. I'm gonna face this way for a second. So same thing, trying to find the good distance that we need for stepping back, right? We don't want to step back too far or too close. Goldilocks, right? And then we step out, again, knee comes forward, hips come back, chest stays open. So everything is the same as every time we do a lower body push, just a little different because we usually don't do lateral lunges like this. I know sometimes it can be a lot on our knees. 3, 2, 1. But today I wanted to do a multifaceted movement. So last movement of the circuit, then we have 2 more rounds, walking lunges. If you don't have space to walk around, go ahead and do that in place. 3, 2, 1, which I now realize that saying a walking lunge in place makes no sense. So what I mean is you can do either forward or reverse lunges in place. Again, whatever feels good for you today. I think it's all really based on how it feels for your knees. Because I know sometimes forward lunges can be a little bit harder on our knees. So if you're worried about that, go ahead and do reverse lunges. The walking lunges, yes, we are stepping forward, but because our momentum is going forward, we are going to use a little bit more glute versus pushing back up. 3, 2, 1. All right, great job. 1 round down, 2 to go. We're laying back on the ground on our stomachs. Supine wise. 3, 2, 1. All right. Arms out like a Y. Thumbs are up. Squeeze our armpits. I prefer to say squeeze our armpits because when we squeeze our shoulder blades, it's not necessarily pulling our shoulder blades down. So if you imagine, squeeze our armpits. So we're shrugging down, exhaling up. We should feel this right in the backs of our shoulders. You were in boot camp yesterday. We did reverse flies for the same move. We'll feel it in the same muscles. Just a little bit of a different movement. We have no momentum here, just our arms. 3, 2, 1. All right, next up, plank arm raises. So again, hands and knees or hands and toes, whatever feels good for you today. 3, 2, 1. Right, we're screwing our hands into the ground so our upper back is nice and flat. We're bringing our core together and exhaling as we lift our arm above our head. Same thing here. We want to make sure that as we are in this position, our shoulder blades are down and back. So we're not reaching with our shoulders. We're here. So we're lifting using our shoulders, but we're not elevating our traps or our shoulders here. Want to make sure we make that distinction because it's going to make the movement different than the intended version of it. 3, 2, 1. Right, we want to work on single arm strength there as well as our shoulder strength. So, all right, last upper body movement, plank knee to elbow. Again, choose whichever one you want. 3, 2, 1. So we can do all on the same side. You can do all on the opposite side. You can alternate, or you can do all, you can do one round one way, one round the other way, and the last round free fall. Whatever feels good, whatever you like to do. I know they feel a little bit slightly different. I know for me, the opposite side is harder. It takes a few more core muscles to come across versus the same side. Making sure we exhale, use our core here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Oh, I'm starting to get hot in here. All right, next up we have curtsy lunge into our lateral lunge. 3, 2, 1. We got back behind diagonal. Knee stays forward, our weight stays forward. Into our diagonal, oh my gosh, into our lateral lunge. I might say, my brain still might be a little bit of scrambled eggs from my migraine the other day. So bear with me. We're about 100% today, so definitely a little bit less scrambled eggs in my brain. But anyways, I'm rambling. We're sticking with the same side, making sure the headlights on our hips are blinding in front of us the whole time we have our curtsy lunge. 3, 2, 1. All right. Same thing. Other side. And then we have walking lunges. And then one more round. And we'll do a quick cool down and be on our way. 3, 2, 1. All right. Again, back behind diagonal. Driving through our heel, big toe, little toe. So especially with the curtsy lunge, as we're stepping back, we want to make sure, right, our weight is in our front glute. So we're driving through the heel of the front leg. So that way we really feel it in our glutes there in that curtsy lunge. If you need to move a little slower on one side versus the other side, definitely do that. I know I always move a little bit slower on my right leg because it's always lagging. 3, 2, 1. All right. The last movement of round 2, walking lunges. Oh, my shoulder is sore. I think all of our bottoms up presses are kicking in right now. All right, 3, 2, 1. So we are walking, making sure, regardless of if we are walking or we are in place, we are on railroad tracks with our feet. So we step out. You notice my feet are still hip width, just as if I were doing like a squat or anything like that. I'm not walking on a tightrope, right? It's a lot less stable when we do this. Feel that a lot more on my knees. Be careful. Try to stay on our railroad tracks. Moving forward, driving through our whole foot. 3, 2, 1. That's a new one. That doesn't feel as comfortable. All right, last round here. Sorry, I got sidetracked. Supine wise, our first. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Like I said earlier, this one is really great for posture when we're sitting at our desk, when we're working. I know for me too, when I'm walking from the ferry in my backpack, I tend to hunch over because of how heavy my backpack is. But when we strengthen our back, it's going to help us with our posture and hopefully offset how forward our shoulders round forward and help us be able to sit up just a little bit taller during the workday and also when we're walking and after work and for life, really. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Nap time. Just kidding. Plank arm raises are next. I wish it was nap time. I probably could lay like that for a few minutes. All right, 3, 2, 1. After this, we have our plank knee to elbow. otherwise known as our last upper body movement of the day. Should have grabbed a mat for my knees on this one, but that's okay. Exhaling, bring your core together. If you slow it down, makes it a little bit more challenging. I know I was actually really rushing through that, but you'll feel it more in your shoulders and in your core when you take your time here. 3, 2, 1. All right. Done with that for today. Last up here, plank knee to elbow. And then we'll be done with our upper body. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last round, best round. I don't know about y'all, but I know my shoulders are tired. I'm tired. But we are pushing. We're using our core. When we push through moments of fatigue, it'll help us be able to do that outside of class, outside of the gym. Find that the mental aspect of the gym really helps in other areas, which is partially why I do love working out and fitness. 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. I think that was like my first time ever doing that all together. Oh, my core. All right. Great job. We killed it. We did awesome. We have curtsy lunges into our lateral lunges. 3, 2, 1. I feel like that was the hardest part of today. But you know what though? If this workout is the hardest part of our day today, we're gonna have such a good day. That's a great, again, going in with that, the mental aspect of training and fitness in the gym. We can really start to build better and stronger pathways in our brain, especially when we learn new movements. So if you're doing something new or something you've never done before, it can create a lot of new pathways in your brain, which can help with other areas. 3, 2. But also, not to mention, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. But just like I posted on Slack earlier, if y'all saw it, 3, 2, 1. This is also technically, right? This is a break from work. So when we take breaks, we give our brain a rest. We can come back feeling more productive, maybe have a little bit more creativity. So we want to make sure we are taking breaks throughout the day. The recommendation is every 90 minutes, taking a 15-minute break. I think I got those numbers right. And so making sure time between meetings or even after this, right? Still go take a break, get some lunch, and then go back into work to take another break before you end. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last up, walking lunges. I'm super sweaty today. All right. We're doing awesome. Last movement here, walking lunges. 3, 2, 1. So again, we're on our train tracks. I feel like I haven't said that one in a while. Exhaling as we step up, using our whole foot, heel, big toe, little toe. The movement is technically the same whether we are walking or we're stationary, right? So if we're walking, we step forward. My foot placement is still the same distance. My knee is still over my second toe. My chest is over my front foot. Same. 3, 2, 1. And that is going to be it for today's circuit. Go ahead and grab a sip of water if you need it. We're going to go ahead and cool down with some figure 4 on the ground. So let's go ahead, make our way to the ground. You can always do this seated or on your backs, whatever feels good for you today. So if you want to do it seated, you're going to be here with your hands behind you, cross your ankle over your knee, and bring your chest towards your leg as much as you can. Or we can lay on the ground, same position, ankle over our knee, or grab behind our hamstring or in front of our shin and pull our knee towards our chest. Slowing our breath down. Inhaling through our nose. And sighing away our tension. With each exhale, just let our shoulders fall closer to the ground. Release our tension. One more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, we can go ahead gently bringing our feet back to the ground. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So other ankle coming over our opposite knee. That tension feels good. Go ahead and stay there. Or you can go ahead and interlace your fingers behind your hamstring or in front of your shin, pulling your knee towards your chest. Or if you're seated, go ahead having your hands behind you. Scoot as close as you can towards your leg to make sure you're getting that nice stretch right underneath that glute. Breathing into our tight areas. Go ahead and do one more breath. And as we finish our exhale, we can go ahead, bring our feet to the ground, and feel free to stay laying on the ground, or you can return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. That is going to be all the time I have for us today. So great job. Now it's definitely like still cardio inducing, but just a little bit different. No burpees. Yay. But I hope y'all have a great day. Great job. And I'll see y'all again tomorrow.